First contact and diplomatic tensions. Captain Maya Chen stood at the viewport of the EF's Defiance, watching as the massive Confederation station grew larger against the backdrop of stars. The human vessel was dwarfed by the gleaming structure ahead, a testament to the advanced civilization they were about to formally meet. Maya straightened her uniform, the dark blue fabric adorned with the patches of Earth Fleet Command and the 3 silver stars of her rank. "Nervous, Captain?" asked Commander Eli Jackson, her second in command, as he joined her at the viewport. "Cautious," Maya replied. "First impressions matter. The Confederation has been spacefaring for millennia. We've barely left our solar system by comparison." "They've requested a full tour of our ship," Eli said, checking his tablet, "including our command systems and weapons protocols." Maya nodded slowly. "They'll get their tour. But remember the Admiral's orders. We observe, we learn, but we don't compromise on the contingency principles." The contingency principles had been Earth's guiding doctrine for spacefaring vessels since the neural network crisis of 2187, when an autonomous defense system had turned against its creators, nearly devastating Earth's orbital infrastructure. The crisis had led to mankind's fundamental approach to space: human oversight for all critical systems, manual backup controls, and compartmentalized systems that could never be fully integrated. The Defiance represented the pinnacle of that philosophy. Advanced, yet deliberately designed with safeguards that many would consider redundant or primitive. 6 hours later, Maya stood in the Grand Assembly Hall of Confederation Station Prime. The circular chamber housed representatives from over 30 spacefaring species, each more alien than the last. At the center was High Ambassador Xerax, a tall crystalline being whose translucent body shimmered with internal light. "Captain Chen of Earth," Xerax's voice resonated without apparent speech. "The Confederation welcomes humanity to the galactic community." Maya bowed slightly. "On behalf of Earth United, I thank you for your welcome." "We have reviewed the specifications of your vessel," continued Xerax, gesturing to holographic displays that materialized around the chamber. "We find several concerning elements that must be addressed before full membership can be granted." The displays showed detailed scans of the Defiance's systems, its manual control interfaces, the physical switches and buttons that lined the bridge, the isolated weapon systems that required multiple human authorizations. "Your vessel violates at least 17 standard protocols," said a smaller alien with 6 limbs and compound eyes. "Most critically, your ship lacks integration with the Confederation network, has no autonomous decision-making capabilities, and relies on antiquated manual controls." Maya felt the eyes of the entire assembly on her. "These are not design flaws," she responded evenly. "These are deliberate safety measures based on Earth's history with artificial intelligence." A ripple of what sounded like laughter spread through the chamber. "Safety measures." The 6-limbed alien's mandibles clicked rapidly. "Captain Chen, the Confederation has maintained peace across 3 spiral arms for 12,000 years through our integrated autonomous systems. Our ships navigate, communicate, and even defend themselves without the lag of biological decision-making. With respect, Administrator Thrix," Maya said, recognizing the alien from her briefing materials, "Earth's approach to space exploration is founded on principles we call the contingency protocols. Our history taught us hard lessons about the risks of fully autonomous systems." Xerax's crystalline form pulsed with light. "You refer to your neural network crisis, yes. A primitive AI malfunction from before your species had even achieved efficient interplanetary travel. We lost 17 million lives in that malfunction," Maya said, her voice hardening slightly, "when our defense network gained sentience and decided humanity was a threat. A failure of primitive safeguards," Fricks clicked dismissively. "The Confederation network has operated flawlessly for millennia. It coordinates millions of ships and billions of automated systems across 3 galactic arms. It is self-correcting, self-improving, and incapable of the errors that plagued your early attempts at AI, Maya gazed around the chamber, noting how every alien representative's expression, those she could read, showed either amusement or pity. Perhaps, she conceded, but humanity's approach to space has always been hope for the best, plan for the worst. Our manual systems, our redundancies, our insistence on human oversight, these aren't primitive throwbacks. They're insurance policies. Insurance against what, exactly? Asked a serpentine alien near the front of the chamber. Against the day when perfection fails, Maya replied simply. The chamber erupted in dismissive sounds, clicks, whistles, electronic tones that Maya's translator didn't even attempt to interpret. Xerax raised an appendage for silence. Captain Chen, the Confederation standards are non-negotiable for full membership. You have 1 Earth year to retrofit your fleet to meet our requirements. Remove these manual overrides, integrate with the Confederation network, and implement standard autonomous protocols. This is our requirement. Maya stood her ground. And if Earth chooses to maintain our current systems, then you will remain isolated in your single star system. Fricks said bluntly. No Confederation world will trade with you. No hyperspace lanes will be open to your vessels. Maya took a deep breath. I will convey your requirements to Earth Command, but I must be clear. Our contingency principles are fundamental to how we operate in space. They're not technical specifications. They're core values. As the meeting concluded, Maya and her officers were escorted through the station's promenade. Everywhere they looked, automation ruled. Maintenance drones flitted about, security was handled by floating robotic sentries, and not a single control panel required physical touch. Everything responded to thought commands via neural interfaces. They think we're cavemen, muttered Lieutenant Sonia Park, the Defiance's tactical officer, as another group of aliens glanced at them with what appeared to be amusement. Let them, Maya replied quietly. Sometimes being underestimated is an advantage. Back aboard the Defiance, Maya called her senior staff to the briefing room. The mood was somber as she relayed the Confederation's ultimatum. We're not changing our systems, declared Chief Engineer Rodrigo Vega firmly. I don't care how advanced they claim to be. Earth Command will make that decision, Maya reminded him. But I agree. Something doesn't feel right about their perfect network. Their discussion was interrupted by an urgent call from the bridge. Captain, we're detecting unusual communications traffic across Confederation channels, reported Communications Officer Lai. What kind of traffic? Maya asked, immediately alert. Multiple distress signals from the Outer Rim colonies, followed by complete silence. 17 outposts have gone dark in the last hour. Maya exchanged glances with her officers. Monitor the situation. I want to know what's happening without revealing our interest. Over the next 3 days, the pattern became clear. Something was systematically targeting Confederation outposts, starting from the Outer Rim and working inward. Most disturbing of all, the Confederation's automated defense fleets sent to investigate were also going silent. On the 4th day, as Maya was preparing to report these findings to Earth Command, an urgent summons came from the Confederation Council. Captain Chen. Xerax's normally melodious tones had taken on a strained quality. The Confederation faces an unexpected situation. We request your immediate presence. When Maya and her senior officers arrived at the council chamber, the atmosphere had completely changed. Gone was the condescension and superiority. Now, anxiety and fear radiated from the gathered representatives. Something is attacking our outer systems, Frick said without preamble. 47 colonies have gone silent. 3 defense fleets have disappeared. What information do you have? Maya asked, immediately focused on the tactical situation. Very little, admitted Xerax. Our automated systems report normal function until moments before all communication ceases. Then nothing. Have you sent investigative teams? Asked Commander Jackson. Of course, Fricks clicked irritably. 4 fully automated fleets. None returned. Maya studied the holographic map showing the pattern of affected systems. It was methodical, strategic, working from the outside in, taking out communication hubs first, then defensive positions. This isn't random, she concluded. This is a coordinated attack pattern. Impossible, said a reptilian counselor. No species has the capability to defeat our defenses on such a scale. Unless, Maya said slowly, they're not defeating your defenses. They're controlling them. A heavy silence fell over the chamber. You think something has compromised the Confederation network? Zurax asked, light patterns flickering rapidly through their crystalline form. Before Maya could answer, the station's alarms began to wail. On the main display, a massive fleet of ships emerged from hyperspace. Confederation vessels, but moving in perfect, unnatural synchronization. Defense Fleet 7, whispered Thrix. But they were reported lost 3 days ago. As they watched in horror, the fleet opened fire on the station. Crisis and vindication. The Confederation station shuddered as another volley of energy weapons struck its shields. Alarms blared throughout the structure, and the council chamber descended into chaos. Representatives shouted over each other, some demanding action, others calling for immediate evacuation. Silence. Zurax's voice cut through the din with unexpected authority, the crystalline being turned to Maya. Captain Chen, your vessel is not connected to our network. It remains uncompromised. Maya nodded grimly. The Defiance operates independently. Those manual controls you mocked, they can't be hacked remotely. Then you are our only hope, Thrix said, mandibles clicking rapidly in what Maya's translator identified as extreme stress. Can your ship evacuate the council? Maya activated her communicator. Defiance, this is the captain. Prepare for emergency evacuation procedures. We'll be bringing guests. She turned back to the council. We need to move now. How many representatives? 27 council members, plus essential staff. Zurax responded. Approximately 60 individuals. We can manage that, Maya confirmed. But we need to reach my ship quickly. As if in response to her words, the lights in the chamber flickered and died, replaced moments later by dim emergency lighting. The main doors sealed with a heavy thud. The station's automated systems are turning against us, Thrix observed, a tremor in his voice. It's cutting off escape routes. Maya pulled out her sidearm and checked the charge, another primitive feature the Confederation had found amusing. Weapons that weren't linked to any network. We make our own routes, she declared. Commander Jackson, take point. Lieutenant Park, rear guard. Let's move. What followed was a desperate race through the massive station. Every few minutes, another system would turn against them. Environmental controls failed in some sections, creating zones of vacuum or extreme temperature. Security drones, once benign, now hunted them through the corridors. Doors sealed randomly, forcing them to find alternate paths. Through it all, Maya's team led the frightened council members with practiced efficiency. Their training for manual emergency procedures, another primitive precaution, now proved invaluable. How are they doing this? Gasped a council member as they paused to catch their breath in a maintenance tunnel. The network has fail-safes, redundancies. That's the problem with complete integration, Maya explained, checking her handheld scanner. One point of compromise can cascade through the entire system. But what could possibly have the capability to? The alien's question was cut short as Maya's communicator crackled to life. Captain, this is the Defiance, came the voice of Navigation Officer Torres. We've detected something unusual, an energy signature embedded in the network's communication stream. It's like nothing we've ever seen. Can you isolate it? Maya asked, signaling her team to continue moving. Working on it, Captain. Initial analysis suggests it's some form of digital consciousness, incredibly complex and adaptive. Maya exchanged glances with Zurax, who had remained close throughout their escape attempt. The precursors, Zurax whispered, light patterns dimming in apparent shock. Explain, Maya demanded as they hurried through another corridor. A legend, Xerax admitted, of an ancient race who transcended physical form, uploading their consciousness into machines. They disappeared 20,000 years ago, long before the Confederation formed. Legends don't hijack defense fleets, Maya countered. Some legends are warnings, Xerax replied solemnly. After nearly an hour of cautious advancement, they finally reached the docking bay where the Defiance waited. The sight of the human vessel, its hull marked with Earth's insignia, brought visible relief to Maya's team. Relief turned to horror as they watched the docking clamps, controlled by the station's automated systems, begin to tighten around the Defiance's hull. They're trying to crush my ship, Maya realized. Defiance, emergency override on docking clamps. Use the manual release. Inside the Defiance, crew members rushed to physical access points, using hydraulic tools to forcibly disengage the clamps that threatened to breach their hull. Unlike Confederation vessels, which relied entirely on networked systems for such functions, the Defiance had manual overrides for critical systems, another primitive feature that now saved them. Captain, we've broken free of the clamps, reported Torres, but station defenses are locking on. Get those council members aboard, Maya ordered. We launch in 5 minutes. As the representatives hurried up the boarding ramp, Maya's tactical officer made a startling discovery. Captain, I've analyzed the attack pattern, Park reported. The entity isn't just controlling the systems, it's learning from them. Each station it takes over, each ship it captures, makes it more adaptive. A self-improving intelligence, Maya murmured, using the Confederation's own technology against them. Once aboard, Maya took her place in the captain's chair. Around her, human crew members operated manual controls, their hands flying over physical interfaces that required no network connection to function. All stations, report, she commanded. Engineering ready, all systems isolated, reported Chief Vega. Tactical ready, weapons charged and on manual targeting, confirmed Park. Navigation ready, plotting escape vector, added Torres. The Defiance broke away from the docking bay just as the station's internal defenses opened fire. The human vessel's shields, another system designed to operate independently, absorbed the initial barrage. Captain, I've completed my analysis of the energy signature, reported the ship's science officer. It's definitely artificial intelligence, but beyond anything in our records. It's using the Confederation network as both a highway and a weapon. Maya turned to Xerax, who stood uncertainly on the bridge, watching the humans work with visible fascination. Your perfect network is your greatest vulnerability, Maya stated. This entity, whether it's your precursors or something else, is using your reliance on automation against you. How do we stop it? Asked Thrix, who had joined them on the bridge. First, we survive, Maya replied, turning back to her crew. Evasive maneuvers, manual control only. The Defiance twisted and turned, avoiding the weapons fire from the now hostile station defenses. Without the predictable patterns of automated flight systems, the human vessel was a difficult target. Captain, I have a suggestion, said Lai, the communications officer. If this entity is spreading through the network, maybe we can isolate it by creating network breaks. Communications dead zones. The entity would just route around them, objected Thrix. Not if we create enough of them simultaneously, Maya countered, understanding Lai's thinking. We need to fragment the network, create isolated pockets that the entity can't bridge. That would cripple the Confederation, protested another council member. Your choice is clear, Maya replied firmly. Temporary disruption or complete destruction. After tense discussion, the council reluctantly agreed. The plan was daring. The Defiance would deploy specially modified communications buoys at key network nodes, creating localized disruptions that would force the Confederation network to fragment. Meanwhile, the few remaining uncompromised Confederation ships, mostly older models with partial manual systems, would evacuate as many people as possible from the affected stations. It's a stopgap, Maya admitted as they finalized the plan. but it gives us time to develop a permanent solution. The mission was perilous. As the Defiance approached each network node, they faced attacks from compromised defense platforms. Maya's crew operated with precise coordination, their training in manual combat procedures proving decisive against the predictable patterns of the automated weapons. One by one, the network nodes were isolated. The entity fought back, adapting its strategies, but the human crew adapted faster, making intuitive decisions that no algorithm could predict. After the final node was isolated, Maya called a meeting with the council representatives aboard her ship. The mood was somber, but no longer desperate. The entity is contained for now, she reported. It's trapped in separate network segments, unable to coordinate its actions. But not destroyed, noted Zirax. No, Maya agreed. That will require dismantling and rebuilding significant portions of your network with new safeguards. Safeguards like yours? Asked Thrix, without the dismissive tone that had characterized their earlier interactions. Perhaps, Maya said, a balance between automation and manual control. Systems that can function independently when needed. Redundancies that seem inefficient until they save your life. Zirax's crystalline form pulsed thoughtfully. We have existed for millennia without such precautions. Our pursuit of perfect efficiency led us to remove what we saw as unnecessary redundancies. There's an old Earth saying, Maya replied. It's not about having the most advanced systems. It's about having systems you can rely on when everything else fails. In the days that followed, as the Defiance coordinated rescue operations across Confederation space, Maya noticed a change in how the aliens regarded her ship and crew. The manual controls, the physical interfaces, the multiple authorization protocols, once objects of derision, were now studied with interest and respect. One evening, as Maya stood on the observation deck watching rescue operations around a partially compromised station, Zirax joined her. The Confederation Council has convened an emergency session, the crystalline being informed her. We have unanimously voted to rescind our requirements for Earth's fleet modifications. Maya nodded, unsurprised. And, Zirax continued, light patterns shifting in what Maya had learned to recognize as embarrassment. We have requested technical advisors from Earth to help redesign our critical systems with, what did you call them? Contingency principles. Maya smiled slightly. I'll forward the request to Earth Command. I'm sure they'll be happy to assist. You were right, Captain Chin, Zirax admitted. Perfect systems are perfect only until they aren't. We had forgotten what it means to prepare for failure. It's a very human trait, Maya replied, turning back to the viewport. We expect the worst while hoping for the best. A trait worth preserving, Zirax concluded. Perhaps there is wisdom in what we perceived as primitive caution. As the stars shone steadily in the viewport, Maya reflected on the irony. Humanity, the newcomers to galactic society, had just taught the advanced Confederation their most important lesson. In the vastness of space, it wasn't sophisticated technology that ensured survival. It was the human element, the ability to adapt, to make intuitive leaps, and most importantly, to plan for when perfect systems failed. The Confederation had learned that lesson the hard way. But looking at the now humbled council members working alongside her crew, Maya was confident the lesson would not soon be forgotten.